winds it up, puts it in my hands, and I got it to spin like you did for the first time. And I looked at him and I said, this is the world's greatest fitness product. I have people in wheelchairs who are getting fit. I have people who've lost 100 pounds with this because you can sit down. Nobody really cares out there at the moment. I've got a thing that looks like a yo-yo until I make them care.
What's going on? It's Ryan here. So we have got somebody who has made over $2.5 billion in sales through infomercials, through products, through things she has just personally invented. She even made one. I was doing a workout with her before I jumped on. I've got none other than Forbes Riley. What's up?
Oh, man. You know, it's funny because people used to be in awe when I would show up because I was on TV all the time.
Yeah.
When you do infomercials, they run 400 times a week. You have flooded my IG. I mean, and I was like, I walked in going, oh, my gosh, look at you. You're real.
I know. You were telling me, you're like, I've been a fan of you. I'm like, I remember seeing your infomercials like when I was super young, like
Yep.
just like all the time.
You don't need to say the word super young, but I appreciate that.
Are they still on?
Yeah, which is really crazy. You know, I think what's interesting about phases, which is like the whole AI thing happening now, is I've been through a couple of phases. There was no cable TV when I started.
Right.
So Body by Jake and I created together the concept of selling fitness products on television.
And when was that?
1991 to 93.
Okay.
We had a TV series called Fit TV
Okay.
that ran 24 hours a day. Very smart man. I think part of why I got so lucky is I got to stand next to a lot of amazing people and just watch.
Right.
He had this harebrained idea of making a 1-hour wheel and playing it 24 times a day, right?
He just bought the whole channel.
You could do that in those days. There were
Yeah.
500 channels about to happen.
Right.
And he created a thing. It was first called the Cable Health Club and then became Fit TV. So he owns the network, right?
Right.
And then he said, what if I did it like a pie? First part is healthy working out, like with him. Then there was an aerobics teacher. Then there was healthy living. And then there was me selling fitness products. I have no desire to sell fitness. I'm not really into fitness at that point. I am now in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. And you're like, wait a second, how did all this happen? I was an actress and a television host. And I walked in, and now it's cliche with Wolf of Wall Street, but there was a camera right there, little pen, and it said, sell me this pen. So if you had to sell the pen, what would you say?
You know, what's funny is I've heard this thing go, but I've never actually tried to do it. But if I had a pen, I'd be like, hey, you know, look at this pen. You know, when's the last time that you needed to sign a contract? When's the last time you used it to go make 20 grand, 30 grand, $1 million? Like, how else are you going to sign the deal?
Right. And that's why you're successful. You know what the average person does?
What?
I've got a pen here. It's blue ink. It's got a nice handle. It sells for $1.99. What I did, and I have a 30,000-foot view of things. And I don't know if you probably see this too with people. Most people think of one thing and you're like, but I see it differently. And so I had a vision that all these actresses were going to walk in and sell it just like I did, right? So I looked at the camera and I said, you know, funny thing about pens. I got to college, I was only 16 years old. My mother used to write me longhand notes every day. I'd run to that mailbox every morning so I could be close to her. A pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. Jake comes out of behind the camera, grabs my face, you're going to make me a lot of money. And truly, I literally went from there, and I'll show you some clips because it's on YouTube now. I pitched every fitness product.
Wow.
And what I discovered, I didn't really tell anybody this, but it was always like the same pitch. Because pitch has a formula to it. It's not, I used to think I was just great at this. Well, I tell you what, we sat and we watched a lot of what I do, and there's things that you do. One, you don't tell somebody that they need it. When you're selling real estate, you ever tell somebody they need this?
No.
No, but you wouldn't. Everybody else does. I got this new product, you need it. The secret I discovered is getting them to want what you have.
Right.
And then understanding features and benefits and what's the difference and laying it out and taking people on a path. All I know is it grossed an insane, he sold that network, by the way, in 1993 to Fox TV for $500 million.
Wow. And that's not even including the products that you were selling.
That's why we were so successful. And that's when QVC and HSN just started. And all of a sudden, there's this concept of selling fitness products on television. Wait, that's Jake right now. No, that's not Jake.
There we go.
That is my phone, which I'll probably turn off because there's nobody more important to talk to than you right now.
Thank you.
So there you go.
We'll tell these people to hold up. We're talking info. We're talking
We're
about
signing deals with that pen, damn it.
Yeah, we're signing deals, So, you know what's funny is I was actually, my new Samsung TV, we just moved in our new house, has, for some reason, it just shows like infomercials now, like it's its default setting. And so I turned it on and then QVC was on. And I was like, dang, QVC's still like rolling strong. This is crazy.
Well, okay, so think about it.
We saw the Property Brothers selling something on QVC. I was like, why are these guys selling on QVC?
Well, okay, so think about it. What I love about the concept of selling on television, especially now with the internet, is that when you walk into a store to buy that jacket, right? You had an idea in your head, I want a jacket.
Right.
Did you know what color, what style? But if I'm here and I'm holding the jacket going, hey, you know what, Ryan? I got to tell you, the maroon looks really good. It pulls out your eyes. It fits great. It's kind of tailored.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want that.
Yep.
And so on television, products talk to you.
Right.
And what I've learned over all of these years is how to harness the concept of pitching. And so while I've done great, you have 85 million potential households listening to you.
Right.
The other thing you have, which is crazy, is you can in real time see how many you've sold. So there's a weird amount of pressure to understand how to do this. I did this my whole life. And it was, and one day, I was in Hollywood. I just want to be an actress. I would be very happy at the Oscars or the Emmys. I've done lots of movies and TV, but this seems to be what I do best.
Right.
And so my daughter comes to me and she says, Mom, can you teach this? I'm like, no, I'm just great. She said,
I'm just a natural at it.
Yes, which I think for every entrepreneur is kind of an interesting concept.
Right.
Is that there is some system that you do when you really look at how you do what you do and why it's successful.
Right.
And I was just talking to somebody, most of my sales, though, was not to your face. See, your face, I can see if you like it, you don't like it. I was doing it to that camera.
You have no idea how people are reacting or any. Well, I guess you only know if they pay.
Yes.
That's the reaction.
You can tell if you're doing well.
Right.
But you don't when you're doing an infomercial. So that's an interesting concept. They used to be produced. Can you imagine that you couldn't get your YouTube video up for 3 weeks?
That's crazy.
Wouldn't that be crazy? That's what we dealt with.
Right.
And now you have such a different way to do that. I'm so blown away by all that we have access to. And I'm also excited because I have a lot to offer. So while infomercials are not big anymore because TV is not watched anymore.
Right.
Unless you go to a hair salon or your hotel. And then you can see I've got 2 infomercials running right now.
What are they for?
One is for a knee therapy.
Right.
And the other is for a free heart scan that you can go in. There's only one clinic that does this. It's playing in Boca at the moment. And then they offer and upsell you a full body cancer scan.
Okay.
Can I tell you, those guys are saving lives.
Yeah.
This is the coolest thing I've ever been a part of.
Right.
Because I went in personally to do it and found a little something on one of my
lump
one of my
or-
valves.
yeah.
I would have never known that. Do you know that doctors don't prescribe you to go get a simple CT you can do with your clothes on for 5 minutes until there's something wrong with you?
Right. There's no preventative.
No. So those infomercials are doing great. In the UK, they used to have just infomercial channels,
Okay.
which was great. You could go and find all these things. And now there's also some online, like there's Shop TV, I think,
Okay.
plays on the internet. And you know who didn't do this well?
Who?
Amazon. Amazon had a live component. They tried it and they didn't make it work.
Well, Amazon Prime's not live, but they have their stuff.
But I still think I love products that walk and talk. I think it's more important to, I don't know, we just used to sell a ton of things.
So in all your years of doing this, I mean, you said you got started in like 91 doing the fitness stuff, and you were an actress and TV show host before that, right? And so you auditioned for this thing. You're like, all right, this would be interesting. I'm super curious. Like, how did the deals work with you? Like, I'm sure they all varied, but like, was it a profit share? Was it like a one-time fee? Like, was there sales commission? Like, how did all that work?
That was the other part of my life that's been fun to look back at. So when you're an actress, it's called show business. And I had a mentor coach many, many years ago who didn't want to focus on the show. He made me focus on the business. Actors are in acting class. Let me emote for you.
Yeah.
I was sending out letters and doing phone calls and setting up meetings and reading contracts. And it was fascinating how I got that part of my brain activated. I also realized that there's not a level playing field. So when I was an actress in New York, I used to get chased around desks a lot. I was apparently a very cute 20-year-old. There was no Me Too at that time, and no one listened. No one cared. That the agent said, let's have a lunch meeting, only it's not in the restaurant, it's up in his hotel room.
Right.
Luckily, not a whole lot of bad things happened to me, but enough where I said, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And what do
I
I
don't want to do this the rest of my life.
No, well, that's what's interesting. Here's what I did do. I said, let's take matters in my own hand. I didn't have any mentor, and I didn't tell anybody about this till like recently.
Right.
I got a piece of stationery, CMA, Creative Management for Artists. I hired a woman with an English accent named Lindsay Maxwell, and she pitched Forbes Riley for commercials, for soap operas, for all kinds of movies. And you know what's so cool, Ryan? I am Lindsay Maxwell. So you want to talk about the imposter syndrome? I was an imposter.
That's
I
funny.
am negotiating my deals, and literally there were moments where I'm sitting with the client like you. Yep.
Yeah.
And they go, I want to call your manager. I'm like Superman. I have to go change my clothes right now. Yes, so tell me, what do you want to talk about with Forbes? So I learned to negotiate because I had to negotiate for me.
That's
Do you
funny.
love that?
I love that.
I don't know any other actor who's ever done that.
No, I don't either. Good thing you didn't have an in-person meeting.
Well, I couldn't. You have no idea how I struggled. Every once in a while I'd lose the accent. All I know is I did more work in 3 years as an actress with myself as a manager. I had only one client, and I loved her.
Yeah.
And I definitely perfected pitching. So now you asked an interesting question about deals. So when it got to infomercials, I was there at the forefront, and nobody knew what the deals were.
Right.
But it kind of made sense to me that if you're going to use my image to play over and over again 400 times a week,
right.
and you're going to gross $1 million, $10 million, I shouldn't be entitled to get a piece of that.
Yep.
So at some point, I opened up an agency, and I negotiated deals for Kris Jenner. I negotiated one of hers.
Oh, wow.
Well, if you look on YouTube, want to see something crazy?
Okay.
Kim Kardashian and Forbes Riley. You know Kim's first job?
What?
My infomercial for a steam iron.
So you hired her to promote a steam iron.
Yep. I had done an infomercial with Bruce Jenner and Jay Cutler for a vitamin.
Okay.
And Bruce and I hit it off. He invited me back to the house, and the kids were all little. There's a visual of them in the bedroom. There's Kylie and Kendall.
How old was Kim when she did this infomercial?
So it's 12 years. My kids are 20, so they were 17 years ago. You can see it. It's literally on YouTube.
But so Kim was already an adult. It wasn't
She was
like
an
a
adult.
kid. Okay, yeah.
She was, I don't know how old.
Yeah.
But here's I do know. She was doing closet organizing with her best friend, Paris.
Oh, okay.
And it was about closet organizing. And Kris said, "Can you get my daughter on television?" I said, "Well, she has this really cute store. She does closet organizing. She's great at that. I'm doing a steam iron." She came down to Florida with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank.
Wow.
And we did this. Now, here's the crazy thing. They didn't like her in it. They fired her. I had her for $2,500 a year.
Wow.
Well, when you see it, it was not her forte.
Wait, $2,500 a year.
Yep, that was the buyout. This was right before she calls me and she says, "Hey, Forbes, you know what? We just got a TV series with Ryan Seacrest. He's producing it." And I said, "Let me know how that works out for you."
You didn't believe in it?
Because
you saw her not perform well on an infomercial.
She was the sweetest. Oh my God! But you're gonna do what? Reality TV show hadn't really hit yet. I didn't understand what they were doing. And then when I saw the first couple of episodes, I don't know if you remember, but they were arguing and they were loud, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys look terrible! Don't do this."
Yeah.
You're like the nicest family.
Right.
And you know what? They had a vision. Kris is amazing.
They say she's like one of the smartest business minds ever.
Well, yes. We talk about kids. So here's an interesting story. I'm in Los Angeles, and I am raising with my ex-husband a little boy that we got from South Central. He was with us every weekend, part of the Big Brother, Little Brother program.
Yep.
And sadly, when he got to a certain age, he ended up in a bad situation, and he ended up murdered.
Wow.
So that was a crazy part of my life. But again, it's so interesting. What was I just talking about? I was just went on a little mind. Oh, kids.
Yeah.
Well, the idea of how you raise your kids and what you do with them. And at that time, Anderson Cooper's younger brother, they're the Vanderbilt family, had just jumped out of a window and committed suicide in front of his mother.
Mm.
And I had these two little babies. My ex was kind of sitting on the couch, did not handle the murder very well. It rocked everybody. And when my kids were about 3, I said, "Who do I talk to about how to raise children if you get a little bit more famous?" Because I was getting notoriety, and when you're out in public, people want you, and how does that work with your kids? So I said, "I'm going to write a book called Being Mom, and I'm going to interview famous moms who have kids over 16 to see how they did it, if it turned out okay." And Kris was the first one I interviewed.
Wow.
Right. I interviewed Kris, then I did Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch, who was a dear friend of mine who's recently passed away, and then Shirley Jones. And then my manager, when I gave him this book, said, "What are you doing?"
Not your fake manager.
No, which, by the way, I wish it had been my fake manager. She wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
My real manager said, a book about being mom, that's not your platform. You need a manifesto about, you should write a book called Been There, Sold That, The Secrets of the $2 billion
Doesn't fit
host.
your brand.
I got really deterred, and I stuck it in a drawer, and I've never really taken it out.
Oh, so you still have it?
I still have it.
Oh.
I know.
We got to release that thing.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's on my list of things to do. Also, how you raise...
And we'll sell it on an infomercial.
I like that.
Yeah.
Would you do an infomercial?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't know, so I've done, obviously, webinars and pitches, and, I've pitched from stage, and, I've crafted these messages and other things. But infomercial is one of those things that's different because, usually what I'm selling is, education, right? Versus, a physical product. That would be fun.
But do you know who your four runners are?
Who?
Than Mitchell. It is Than, right?
Than Merrill?
Than Merrill, yes.
Yep.
Huge infomercial guy. Dean Gracioso.
Yep.
Huge. Did you know that they did infomercials?
Well, I assume Tony Robbins and all them been doing it forever.
Right, but in the space of real estate and education,
he was doing it.
They already carved that out.
Yeah.
I would love to see you do that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I think we can do this.
I'd be down. I'm always down to do new marketing strategies. So we're going to just run back a TV commercial over and over again with me, and I'm just pitching.
It's interesting. It's just a different feel than a webinar.
Right.
It's definitely more produced.
Yep.
Although Dean, it'd be fun to pull out some of the old tape. Dean did one in his car. Do you ever see this one?
No.
He is driving. I'm having a vision of this where he was just so real, raw, and honest. And the difference is when infomercials came out, they were very scripted and very plastic, kind of like Dynasty, the TV series, compared to reality shows.
Right.
Very big difference.
Right.
He was one of the first guys to take his phone in a car while he was driving around looking at properties and talking to the audience, and it crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. The other one that crushed it, I used to work for Beachbodies. You know, the little company
Tony
called
Horton.
Yeah, well, when they first came out, so Tony and I did a thing called Power 90.
Okay. By the way, I'm a big P90X guy. I love that.
Well, here's what's funny. How old were you when you saw P90X?
How old was I? I was about 20 years old when I started doing it, so this would have been 2009.
So I do this. I meet Tony. I get to work out in his gym, hang out with him. Carl is just building Beachbodies. Again, fun to hang out with visionaries who are genius. Sometimes you can't even imagine what they're doing.
Right.
He was the first fitness company to eliminate fitness products and focus on DVDs.
Yeah.
He is the last fitness company because now he's all online, and all the companies who had these big products are all dinosaurs and they're gone.
You know, what's funny about that is I saw Tony Horton just started like getting active on social, and I was like, dude, it's Tony Horton. Like, I watched this guy's video like 100 times, like working out. Like everything about the video is so fun. I could rehearse the video. I've seen it so many times on the workouts.
We'll have to introduce you.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened. So I'm doing Power 90 with him, very excited to launch this, and he comes to me with this thing called P90X.
Okay.
I'm a woman. My reaction is the type is really little in that book. The workouts are really intense, and I thought, dude, this is not your women at home. We're going to do this. This is for college students going off to be professional football players.
That was me.
There you go. But you know what they did? So I talked myself out of a job. What they did was they said, you know what, you're right. We're not going to do it traditionally. We're going to give everybody their own little video camera. We're going to bring them into the studio every day for 90 days and follow them. And then Carl, the CEO, and his CFO did the same program. You've never seen a CEO get shredded before. And it was fascinating. So the entire infomercial is kind of off-kilter, a little strange, but all about before and afters and real people doing real work.
Right.
And it crushed it.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that the other day. So for those listening, right, I came from just a guy who was flipping houses and hustling and doing stuff to now being on the digital side the last 2 years, right? I didn't know how to run webinars. I didn't know how to do paid ads. I haven't known how to pitch. Like, I was always just like, buy my stuff. Like, it's the best. That's the pitch, right? I'm like, if you don't buy it, it's on you, right? But you know, psychologically, you've got to get people ready to buy. Like,
Yes.
they just don't, they're not going to do it themselves. And actually, Cardone actually told me something that made me switch my thought on it, where he was like, bro, it's your obligation to sell, not only for your company, but for them, right? If you don't get them to buy the product and you know it can change their life and you know you could influence them to do it, then you're doing them a disservice and your company, your employees, and everyone else. And I was like, you just sold me on becoming a guy who can pitch.
Right.
And I was like, all right, you know, I'm really going to go all in on becoming better at pitching.
So one of the questions you always want to ask yourself, and Grant's completely right, in that it's a lot of the people who come to me, especially women who come to me, oh, I just give my stuff away for free. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, okay, that doesn't feed your family. It doesn't make you a better person. And the people who get it for free don't value it.
Yeah,
so you're doing
there's no skin in the game.
Right, but they don't think that. And so what Grant's great about is shifting mindsets. And so for you just have to, I think, what is the biggest problem that your solution solves for someone else? Mm-hmm. So if someone's coming to you for your product or service right now, what are you selling them? What are you enrolling them into?
Well, we have a bunch of different programs, but let's just talk Wealthy Investor. You know, we're trying to help people quit their 9-to-5s, become full-time real estate investors.
Okay. So are there a certain kind of demographic for that particular product?
Well, my audience is mainly male, mainly 21 to 35.
Okay. What's the biggest problem that they suffer from?
There's probably 3 problems. One is, well, you're saying that the real estate investing solves, or are you saying
That
like why they won't get in?
No. That your program, your mentality, what you're going to give them, you're the solution. What
Yeah.
is this? The solution to what, though? What's their problem?
Okay, one problem is they want to make more money.
Okay.
That's what they think. One other problem is they want more time back. They're tired of working 9 to 5. And then another problem is they want to have financial freedom. They don't they want to build passive income and all that.
So rather than tell them you got a program and that it does this, this, and this, remind them of all the things that they need.
Right.
So if you're struggling and you want financial freedom, you don't have a whole lot of time, you want to get into real estate, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
This is what we used to do. This is what an infomercial is about. If you're in the middle of the night, imagine you were sleeping, right? The TV came on. You don't jump up and go, oh, I need that stain remover.
Yeah.
But if I look in the camera and say, guys, oh, do you remember the last time when you spilt red wine on a white carpet or you got a mark on your favorite shirt? What did you do? And you still don't talk about the product.
Right.
Then you cut to a testimonial. Well, I just found this product. Now my wife is real happy because I just saved my shirt. You're like, oh, I want this. You don't even know what you want yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people show up with the product first.
Right.
Here, let me show you what I've got.
You got to go with the problem.
I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
You find that and then you become the solution.
Yeah. You don't need to tell them how it works.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, this is crazy. One of our most successful infomercials, we couldn't even show the product. This was couldn't even show the product. You know why? It was a weight loss product.
Okay.
And we would talk about it. We'd show testimonials, before and afters, talk about it more, show the inventor. Never meant it's a DVD. Can't show what it is. You know why? It was about breathing. She developed this breathing technique that helped people lose weight. Dude, if I showed you what that was, you don't need my DVD.
Well, also, too, you might be like, I don't know if that's going to work.
Right. $100 million hit, never showed the product.
That's crazy.
But that's why people buy.
Right.
You don't have to talk them into it. You don't have to. It's so, I love pitching. I love teaching pitch. I now been teaching pitch 40 to 60 hours right there with my little computer, Zoom people around the world. And then I had a personal dream. I wanted to be one of the top female speakers.
Okay.
Oh, wait. That's not even a thing. How many female speakers do you even know?
I always struggle to get them for my events, and it's not because I don't want them.
That's it. So that's exactly what it is. You can name all the guys. Name one female.
Forbes, do you want to be at my next event?
I would love to.
That would be great.
It's in Hollywood in April.
It's in Hollywood.
Not that I haven't already looked it up.
We're going to get you at WealthCon. I actually just had one of the girls drop out.
Really?
Yep.
I only saw one girl on the entire list. I did my research.
Well, we had two.
Okay.
And actually, one dropped out, then another one dropped out. So,
they don't know what they're missing. I'll take both their spots.
We'll take both their spots.
Well, it's funny because we've created, so my partner, you'll love this. My partner's 20 years old.
Okay.
My partner's never been to college.
Okay.
My partner's grossed $25,000 the first day she was in business. Right out of high school, she was 17 years old. And now her business is about $3.5 million, and it's a coaching business she built with her mom. And so I get to work with my daughter.
That's awesome.
And I will tell you what's come about is wanting to be more of a role model, even because she has none.
Right.
And I said this on Clubhouse. Are you on Clubhouse?
Not really. I mean, I did it 2 years ago when it was big, but we're actually going to start doing Twitter Spaces very regularly, but not Clubhouse.
I grew up with, you know what a CB radio is?
No.
I hope your audience gets a kick out of this.
CB radio?
CB radio, yes.
I know what a CD is.
All right. Well, long time ago, they used to, truckers? You remember that, 10-4 trucker?
Yeah.
Well, they were called CB radios, citizen band radios.
Okay,
and
got
my
it.
dad had one.
All right.
And he had relatives in the trucking industry, and everybody in my hometown had one. I grew up kind of clubhousing it, literally talking on a microphone to kids around the neighborhood doing whatever. My handle was Princess, and it was a great way to communicate.
Right.
Clubhouse, for me, became that.
Right.
I found Clubhouse. My fiance at the time had been in a horrible motorcycle accident, shattered his foot, 6 months in a wheelchair, and I had no one to talk to. So all of a sudden, I helped build this community.
Right.
Well, me and Grant's on there too all the time. What I've discovered is I like not having to put on makeup.
Yeah.
There's something about being a girl that takes a lot of extra time when you do Zooms.
Yep.
And I found an entire community that I could influence and teach pitching and teach all the things that we're doing. They would love to know what you do.
Yeah.
Clubhouse started out as a kind of a friendly thing.
Yeah.
It is now business rooms, hungry entrepreneurs wanting to understand what you do, and you get to talk to them in real time.
Right.
I love this.
Yeah. I'll have to go back on. I haven't been on in so long. My only problem with Clubhouse is and it's good and bad, but number one, it's not visual. So it's tough for me because I'm this podcast, it's both audio and visual. So we're going to be able to get a lot of different pieces of content and all that stuff. The second problem I have is everything's live. And so it's before they didn't even record them. I don't know if that's changed. And I'm just
record.
Okay. I'm dude, I'm not going to go on there. That's just it's going to vanish the moment I'm done. That's I'm just always thinking about optimization.
Well, but the optimization is why would Grant spend all his time on there? He's on almost every night. Think about it.
Yeah.
Not a guy who likes to waste his time.
No.
Beautiful wife and 2 girls. He doesn't really need to be doing this.
Yeah.
The amount of traffic that you can drive. So I built, relatively small business, a couple $1 million. with my daughter. I had no product either. You know, this is an interesting transition. I love where we've gone with this. So I started out in infomercials, acting. That ended. And then when COVID hit, everything was done at home. So I love the idea of Zoom.
Yeah.
Love that. But I didn't have a product.
Right.
You're in real estate. You've always had a product.
Yep.
So I sat out and thought, all right, what do I need to teach? What do people need to know from me? And a funny story, I was in Hollywood and I got a huge contract. Gave it to my agent. It was for $100,000. And I said, help me negotiate this. And he comes back 2 days later and says, yeah, I got some bad news and some good news. I'm like, all right, the good news? Oh, they love you. I said, that's great. The bad news is they're not going to use you. I'm like, excuse me? He said, yeah, they want a younger, less expensive version of you. But the good news is they want you to train her.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so after I said, no, you're fired, and I can't, no, I made a pact with myself that I was never going to teach what I knew. Because I knew that it worked, and I knew that as a woman, there was nobody in this space.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I was very happy being that selfish. And then one day I woke up, I had kids, and I realized there was much more to life.
Yeah.
Did you ever have an epiphany moment like that where you were doing one thing and
Yep.
it just changed?
Yep.
When did you stop playing sports, by the way?
2017.
Because?
At that time, I had gotten released, and I'd been released a couple of times in my career, but real estate was finally starting to take off, and I was having the worst season of my career because my real estate business was thriving, and so I was like in the dugout doing offers and like texting people, and I just couldn't focus, and I was like, I'm good. Like I've done enough. I'm ready to go business full time.
Did you have a mentor who helped you do that?
Starting out, I mean, I had people that were helping me here or there, but I never had anyone that was like, yeah, we're going to meet every week. We're going to go through this program. It was just like, I'd take a little from here, a little from there. And like, eventually I started to figure things out, but I wish I would have like got a true mentor earlier. I was just too cheap. I just was like, I'll just figure it out on my own. And, you know, once I started paying for mentorship, it was actually in 2018 at Grant's event, which you said you spoke at. Day one. That was the first time I ever paid for education. I bought Russell's thing and I bought Ty Lopez's thing.
There you go.
That's the first time ever.
Fun moment at that. My daughter was just coming into her own. She was 15 years old. We walk into rehearsal. She makes a beeline for Russell. She's already made funnels for Joe Theismann, for other actors, for people. My friends built YouTube channels. She started when she was 12.
Yeah.
And walked right up to Russell and said, Russell, I love your platform, but it's got some bugs. It needs help. And Russell's like, Dave Woodward, come here for a second. She ended up being on their junior board of advisors on their podcast. Sadly, Dave just passed away, but became very tight with the family. Do you know that later that day, Russell shouts out my daughter on stage?
During his $3 million pitch?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's by the way, that's one of the best videos to watch.
That was masterful.
It is masterful. I mean, we talk about not a lot of women at my level, but there's very few people. Who else teaches pitching? What even is pitching for people? What do you think pitching is?
Influencing someone to buy something.
Yes. Can I coach you and say no?
Okay.
What if it's not about buying? Hey, honey, can we go to this restaurant?
Yeah, influencing someone to do something.
Right. To do anything and everything.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, when you start to realize that every day, all day you pitch.
Yep.
All of a sudden, when it comes to something for money, you don't mind switching gears.
Yeah.
But you don't sound like, oh, hey, Ryan, I've got a great idea for you.
Yeah.
People put on their pitching voice.
Yeah. Well, I figured that out as I got onto social media. I was like, well, you know, now that I'm starting to think about this, yeah, I have to pitch my wife to do things. I have to pitch my kids. I have to pitch people on working for me. I have to pitch, you know, on social media, getting people to want to follow me and watch my content. Even if I'm not selling anything, it's like I'm pitching you to continue watching me, right? Like everything's a pitch.
Everything is a pitch. And when you discover that in your heart, and that's one of the things. I have a whole bunch of programs. We have a program called 1 Minute to Millions where I teach people in 60 seconds just to be able to say who they are and what they do. It hurts my heart. My dad was a magician and an inventor.
Okay.
And I'm 8 years old, and I'm sitting in his garage. Now, and it's a whole other show. We had the weirdest inventions, like a half a garbage can, lawnmower engine, and paper mache, and he made a Batmobile that went 4 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, Dad, this is kind of weird. We were definitely the weird family.
Yep.
And he said to me one day, kiddo, how do I get my ideas out to the world? I said, Dad, I've got no idea. I'm 8.
Yeah.
But when I got older and I had an influence to infomercials and get inventors out there, I used to speak at inventors conventions all around the world because inventors are the most adorable and sad people on the planet. They spend a ridiculous amount of time tinkering with things in a garage, wasting their time. Their wives are going, why are you still doing that?
They're so focused on product and they forget marketing and sales.
my dad died and he never got any of them out. And so that was been part of my mission is I don't care what your product is. I'm going to help you get it out there. I'm going to help you be more confident.
Yeah.
And I think that's why to date, I don't know how many students people are supposed to have. With no paid Facebook ads, in 2 years we have 16,000 students.
That's crazy.
I know. And I love doing it, and I love partnering with people now because my people, once you know how to pitch, you pitch real estate. Once you know how to pitch, you can pitch a network marketing company. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, we don't care. Whatever.
No, but my people are happier. They're making money. It's, I don't know, this is probably the best time of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing.
WealthCon is coming to Hollywood. If you've ever been to any of my events, you know they're life-changing. We get the best speakers, we have the best venues, we have the best parties, after parties, and networking that you could imagine. I've met so many people who ended up becoming business partners of mine at my events. I've made great relationships, and the people who have attended have done the same. And so I want to see you at my next one in Hollywood, California, April 4th to the 6th. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We've got speakers like Chris Crone, Lewis House, Tatiana Landano. We've got Vanessa Lau. We got Robuilt from Bigger Pockets. The list goes on and on. We have a huge lineup of speakers, and I want you to be there. So if you want to attend the event and learn more, go to wealthcon.org. Once again, you can go to wealthcon.org and go learn more about the event and register today. Hey, if you're looking to grow your real estate investing business, whether you're just getting started trying to get your first deal or you're trying to scale and get to the next level, you need to join us at Wealthy Investor. We've got events every single quarter that are absolutely crazy. We've got online coaching programs where we have Zoom calls, a community every single week. We give you everything you need to know to start your business, scripts, processes, SOPs, all of it. It's for you so that you can dominate. So if you want to learn more about how to join our community and be mentored by me and some of our top coaches and be around other students who are absolutely crushing it, go to wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a free call with my team. Once again, wealthyinvestor.com, apply for a call today.
So I'm curious, like, you know, as you transition to, you know, this new world of everything's online, right? We've talked about like a million things I could go really deep on, but you know, let's bring it back to infomercials. So you have things like P90X, which was, I don't even know how much money P90X made.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And they're selling DVDs, they got all this stuff, and then all of a sudden at some point, you would have known when this happened, but everything just kind of switched to online.
Right.
When was that? And like, what was that like going through it?
It was weird. It was definitely weird. All of a sudden, television kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, streaming is everything. What do we do here? And for a while, I had these two infomercials running, but I'm like, where are they playing? They literally play in nail salons, older people who still have regular television. Sorry about older people.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. Or in your hotel room.
Right.
And so, but that's still a huge market.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting, I think, whenever you develop something in this country, be mindful there's an entire world out there. Jack LaLanne Juicer sold 8 years in 80 countries. I've made more money in countries that we've never even heard of because they are that far behind us.
Right.
Well, sometimes when I go visit them, it's like the time warp. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you knew Google stock now, and go back 20, 30 years, would you have invested in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I see a lot of things happening like that. But so the transition was kind of weird. And some people got it. They very quickly, I started a membership very early on, way too soon.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand. My biggest issue was the internet was hard without webmasters, and you had a code, and it was definitely a rough patch there where you didn't know how to get it on there.
Yeah.
One day Russell creates ClickFunnels, it's drag and drop, and I'm like, oh my God, I can create a web page in an hour. I'm so loving this.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer.
Yep.
But then you go back to someone like Russell Brunson, and you watch that, how I made $3 million in 90 minutes.
Yep.
One of the things that he'd said, which was interesting, is that he did the 10X the year before.
Okay.
Because I also know the first year, I made a whole bunch of mistakes I would not have made the second year.
Right.
That's an interesting lesson. You know, people have fear of failure, fear of success. Do you love failure? Do you embrace failure? How do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I came from baseball where if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're legit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That is the best analogy.
Yep.
Because you really get very humbled by that.
Yeah.
So I teach people to learn from their failure. And I love the fact that there's very few people who just help you love on you. You know, one of the problems right now is massive FOMO, is that everyone feels like they're missing out.
Yeah.
Well, I missed the Bitcoin. I missed, Bitcoin. I missed the real estate. No, you didn't.
No, it's always going to keep going. Yeah.
Thank you. My 9-year-old son, Riker, turns to me one day and he's like, Mom, all the good ideas have been taken.
That's funny.
And I thought, you're right. And I'm like, wasn't that funny? You know,
Yeah.
and then right after that, I think Facebook Live, Instagram, TikTok, they all came out. I'm like, Riker, all the great ideas are coming.
Yeah.
And then he went ahead and made $85,000 doing some little Bitcoin transfer. I'm like, dude, you got this going on. There's so much to learn. We talked about kids. Oh, actually, I talked to one of your guys about kids. My daughter's got a book coming out called Every Company Needs a Kid.
Wow.
You know what that would refer to?
What?
When you talk to your kids, what do they see that you don't see anymore?
I don't know. Well, my kids are still so young. They don't talk to me yet.
But they see imaginary creatures. They look more than they talk. They observe. They're learning.
Yeah.
Those are things adults forget to do.
Yeah.
We forget to shut up and just listen, to observe. We think we know it all.
Right.
We don't.
We kind of like are closed-minded.
So my daughter was 8 years old. Most people discount kids. I'm going to urge you, because you've got such a young spirit and 2 young kids. They know things that you will have no idea. So I've got my fitness product. It comes in a bag, a book, a DVD, and an extra cord, right?
Okay.
HSN comes to me and says, all right, we want to do kind of like a Groupon special. We're going to slash the price, and we want to order 75,000 of them.
Okay.
Well, if they slashed the price, there was no profit margin.
Okay.
And I'm looking at all this. I'm like, so I'm going to sell all these and make no money. That doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah.
And we're all sitting around going, well, what do we do? You can't take the components out. My daughter walks in and innocently says, Mom, why don't you take out the neoprene bag? Like, that's my really cute branded bag. 65 cents a bag. You know, when you take out 65 cents times 75,000, you have a home run?
You hit 40 grand.
Yeah. And that's what she did. And I thought, you ought to listen more, and it's because you have no idea what you don't know.
By the way, that thing is cool. So why don't you show people how that works? Sell it right now.
Oh, there you go. All right, so here's how I sell it. This is great for you. Your wife, does she like to work out?
She's getting back into the flow. She's had kids back to back, so.
All right, well, this is great for women who have kids back to back. I created this because 2 reasons. My mother was always 260 pounds my whole life.
Okay.
Did your parents work out?
No.
My parents died 23 years ago at 70, too young. And I bought my mom, I always wanted her to be healthy.
Yeah.
I bought her a membership to a gym, got to literally the entrance to the door, and I said, come on. And she said, I can't. I said, come on, I bought the whole year. She said, I can't. And she started crying. I said, what's the matter? She said, I don't want to, I'm going to be intimidated. I'm overweight. And she left. And I said at that moment, I am going to make something so that nobody has to suffer in their own body. They don't have to be intimidated, and they could get fit. Why do you do real estate?
Forbes, hold on. Before I answer the question, I just have to say, for everyone listening, the way that you address everything is so good, because I asked you to sell me that thing, and you first just told me this great story that relates to family and all these. Then you start asking me questions instead of pitching the thing. You're like, we haven't even got into the product. So I just want to say, I respect that. I love it. So what was the question again?
Well, I just told you, and this is for all, because I assume if you're an entrepreneur, that's one reason you love listening to him. So what I just did was, one, that's called a springboard story.
Okay.
Nobody really cares out there at the moment. I've got a thing that looks like a yo-yo.
Yep.
Until I make them care, right?
Yep.
So I told you a story about my mom, who was always overweight.
Yep.
I am 15 years younger than when she, like, I look at pictures of her, I look so much younger than she did 15 years ago.
Right.
And I said to myself, I always wanted to look vibrant and healthy.
Yeah.
So you make a decision about what you want. You're in real estate for a reason, aren't you?
Yep.
What is it?
Well, I got into it for the reasons I said earlier,
No. Go back. Did you have a good home?
I actually did have a good home growing up.
What did your dad do?
My dad was an entrepreneur. He owned basically a convenience store, and my mom was a realtor.
Oh, well, okay. Do you hear that? It drips into your sphere.
Yeah.
When I ask people what they do, because you could be doing anything and make as much money, but you're in this and you love doing this.
Yeah.
People always say when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
Yep.
But what you love comes out of you solving your own problems a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is how I'm never going to get fat because I do this, because I do this every day, all day. That's like a side hustle for me personally.
Yeah.
Because I never wanted to suffer that way. Mm-hmm. And then communication. When I was little, I had a thing in my mouth, or I couldn't talk for 2 years. I was a little
Is it a
girl.
retainer?
Yeah, well, it was more of a tongue thruster.
Okay.
And so, can you imagine why do I want to communicate and have people express their ideas? Because I know what it's like to not feel that you can.
Right.
So, if this show airs, you're watching it live, it's February, it's cold outside, right?
Yep.
Wear lots of jackets. What happens in the summertime? You're taking your clothes off, right?
Yep.
Everybody raise your arm like this. Literally raise your arm.
All right.
Back of your arm, is it wiggly jiggly or is it really tight and firm and sexy?
It can definitely be a little more firm.
Oh, it could be a little bit more firm. Okay,
Yep.
well then here's what I do. I don't know if your cameras can see this if I stand up. But here, I'm going to put this in your hands.
All right. Well, let's
don't
make
think
sure we
it's
get the
even-
mic. We get the mic going. All right.
Well, here, give me this right here.
All right.
I'm going to put this right, hold on to that.
All right. Here we
And I
go.
don't know how high your cameras are.
Yep. They can see it.
Cool. All right, so now make a fist. Bam.
Okay.
Now, by the way, this is 250,000 RPM. In a third world country,
All right.
they put a vial of blood on that and use it as a centrifuge.
Wow.
Kind of cool, right? Now,
Yeah.
keep your hands out.
Okay.
Let it sit at the very edge of this chair.
All right.
Now, for you at home over there,
Yep.
you're sitting at your Zoom call all day, right?
Yep.
You can get to the gym today. Damn! Lean back a little bit.
All right.
Don't touch the back. Oh, abs. Oh, keep your feet on the floor. Keep your feet on the floor.
Okay. Okay.
Come on. Go, 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 go.
All right.
Now, you're breaking
Yeah.
out your sweat.
Yep.
Now, put one hand on your heart,
Okay.
and I want you to punch. You punch
Okay.
out. What
We're
kind
punching.
of stress?
We're
What kind of
punching.
stress?
All right. There's the workout.
Do that 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes a day.
You'd be amazed what happens to your body.
So this is the Spin Gym, spingym.com.
So what Spin Gym does is it vibrates through your entire body.
Yeah,
There's
I feel
no
it.
other product like that.
Yeah.
The last reason I created that is I'm in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. I've
Crazy.
sold more fitness products almost than anyone else on the planet. Early days, I was when resistance bands first came out. I put one on my foot. I was rehabbing a knee injury.
Right.
Slips off my foot and shatters my nose.
Whoa.
I'm glad I have eyes. I'm glad I have a nose. They rebuilt it, and it was fine. But I had a moment to think there, I don't like these things. I don't like these snappy things. A lot of products with resistance bands, I can't be anywhere near them.
Right.
And so when I was introduced to this is the world's oldest toy. Chinese made it 2,000 years ago. In third world countries, button on a string. You ever hear that? Whirligigs?
No, but yeah.
I was in the UK, and this is just one last little story here. Because have you ever been really, really low? Like really down, you thought,
Yeah.
I can't do this?
Yep.
But you kept going.
Yep.
Why?
Because you have to.
No, you don't. There's an easy way out. I've lost 3 friends this year. You don't have to keep going. You chose to because why?
Because I want to thrive. I want to live. I got family. I got people who depend on me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had one of those moments. After I lost Dexter, I had 2 babies. Marriage is having its own falling apart. Career's falling apart. Everything's ending.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do.
Okay.
And I used to go over to the UK every 6 weeks and do QVC there. I made a pact with myself, me and my whoever, and I said, you know what? I can't sell any other products more that I don't love.
Okay.
Because in the infomercial business, sometimes you're given something you don't truly love. I don't want to do that anymore. They called me up and said, hey, can you come to London? We've got this elliptical. Like, okay. I said, yes, and for today's special. And today's special, you can gross about $100,000 in a day. So I said, all right. Then they showed me the product, and it sucked. And I looked at it and I thought, oh man, I just made a deal with myself not to do this, but I also want the money to go over there.
Yeah.
I'm over in the UK. It's midnight. I go on in the first show, first time in my whole life, I didn't do very well. Oh, there's one other thing. I had the lead in a TV series. I was so excited that this is really what I wanted or what I thought I wanted. And they decided at the 11th hour I wasn't famous enough to carry the show. And they gave my role to Bo Derek. And they broke my heart, and that's when I moved away from Hollywood. So everything's just not working. I'm sitting in a green room by myself, and a guy walks in with something like that in silver. And I said, what is it? He's like, well, this is an office de-stressor. And watch this. When you first hold a Spin Gym, if you grab it right and like this, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
And I said to him, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I gave it back to him.
Right.
He goes on TV, and he sells 1,000 of them. And I'm like, what? He comes back, and this is one of those moments where the world it's just so magical. He winds it up, puts it in my hands, and I got it to spin like you did for the first time. And I looked at him and I said, this is the world's greatest fitness product. And he said, no, it's an office de-stressor. I said, oh no. And I saw, Ryan, a vision
Yeah.
of what this could be.
Yeah.
Of how people could, I have people in wheelchairs who are getting fit. I have people who've lost 100 pounds with this because you can sit down. You don't have to be active, and it works on its own. It's the most amazing thing ever. And so far I've sold a couple million of them. I'm working on, in fact, you know that guy, Derek Fay, that you just
Yep.
interviewed? Yeah. Derek's become a new mentor of mine.
Okay.
And I think it's important for everyone out there to realize that you're good at what you do. Don't think that you're good at everything.
Right.
I talk to people every day, and we're talking from CEOs to sales teams. You don't know how to pitch.
Yeah.
Maybe you do because you're good at what you do, but I don't know that you really do because you're working on your widget.
Yep.
You're building your course. You're doing whatever it is. You're writing a book. How much time have you spent practicing pitching it?
Not a lot.
Right.
Yep.
That's the little gem that I bring to this.
Yep.
And so I said to Derek's great at selling companies
Yep.
and structuring. And I said, you know what? I want your help. And he said, okay.
So let's sell the Spin Gym.
There you go. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So this is your product that you own.
I own the patents. I own the trademark.
Yeah.
I own all the crazy things. So here's how it got famous at first. I had it in my pocket. I'd never owned a company before. I'm the world's ultimate spokesperson. You want me to pitch your products? I'll go out in your sales team and I'll outsell all of them.
I believe it.
Love to do that. Just love to do that. But now I'm like, oh, I want my own product. Oh my God. You know what you have to go through? The research, the development, the LLC, everything you have to do.
Product market fit and all that. Yeah.
Oh, then I ran into Anthony Sullivan and Billy Mays. You know who they are?
Billy Mays, yeah.
They did a TV series called Pitchmen.
Okay.
And I took this to Vegas with me. It was in my pocket. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to sell it. This is about 15 years ago, before all of this internet and made it so easy to do. And a camera guy says, hey, we're filming this TV series, Pitchmen. Tell us what it's like to work with Anthony Sullivan and Billy Mays. I'm like, I told them. And then this one guy said one line, I don't even know his name. He said, what are you working on now? And I said, well, I've got this in my pocket. It's called a Spin Gym. Want to see it? And he's like, oh my God, you got to show this to Billy and Sully. I said, no, they sell soap. He said, no, you got to, the TV series, they're going to love this. I show it to them. Now, what's great about this is all this was filmed. I have this moment in time forever.
Yeah.
They then said, this is awesome. Let's go to New York. Let's talk to AJ Kubani. AJ created the As Seen on TV logo.
Okay.
Now I'm sitting in a room with AJ, Billy, Sully, and a TV camera, and I'm like, wow, this is so freaking cool. They said, let's do it. Let's put you on the show. For 5 months, I shoot a reality show. You know what happened?
What?
I didn't know that my agenda was different from their agenda.
Okay.
In the series, it was 13 episodes. Billy did a little 2-minute infomercial within this every episode. Mine, they let me do it. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a girl.
Okay.
I've had a lot of that kind of hitting a glass ceiling as a woman in a man's industry.
Yep.
And I'm a little vocal, and I like my ideas being heard. And so, and the CEO of the company, the network they're on,
Yeah.
you know what shows they did? Ice Catchers and Deadliest Catch, Ice Truckers.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, not a real kind of Lifetime feminine show.
No.
They set out to prove that I couldn't do this. And they had a very different agenda. To the point where, and you know, it's funny, Kevin Harrington just gave me a testimonial. He said, you know, he gave it to my daughter. He said, you have no idea what your mom went through to get where she is. She stood up against the big guys and she won. And that was really cool of him to say, because it was just a strange time. I am out there. I'm building this. The reality cameras are in my face for 5 months. I am loving this so much. One day we're on the set shooting that little infomercial, and Sully says to me, read the prompter. For $29.99 for the chest, it's the best. Then it said for $19.99 for the chest, that's great. Then it said for $9.99. And I said, guys, you know I have a legal agreement with the guy in England. I can't undercut them. I can't do that. It was like they staged this. With that, all the cameras were like, oh, what's going to happen here? Sully starts screaming at me. He says, if you don't do this, the whole thing is scrapped. I'm like, what's going on here? Then they take out a plastic version of a Spin Gym. And they said, and I looked at it and I said, I would never put my name in a piece of cheap plastic crap you're selling for $9.99. Well, edit. You know what America saw?
What?
I'm never going to sell anything for $9.99.
Yeah,
That
like
made me look
you're too good.
Like you're too good, like you're greedy. Whoa, I got crucified. The next morning, the show airs. They say the product's never going to work. They made me cry at the end of the episode. They did a lot of stuff they didn't need to do.
Right.
And in fact, they edited some voiceovers that made me look really bad. And I'm like, why would you do that? I woke up the next morning. YouTube was flooded. Spin Gym was the #1 Google search word. Forbes Riley was #3, and it wasn't really good, which just broke my heart. And my partner said, hey, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm going to make Spin Gyms. He said, nobody wants them. I said, they're wrong. He said, they can't all be wrong. And I said, but they are. And for 3 years, I woke up every single morning with a hashtag, like tattooed, hashtag watch me. And I don't know how you built your company, but I went to work with blinders on saying this product is for people in wheelchairs, for people who are moms who can't move, overweight. This has to be out there. Just like Grant said, I can't stand in the way of this. I'm the only one who knows this has to happen.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, if you want to be successful in your business, the thing that you've got to do is you've got to buckle down, not focus. You've got to super hyper only focus on the one thing you're doing, because you cannot eat everything at the buffet. You eat one thing, then I have a vision of most entrepreneurs with 4 forks in their mouths.
Right.
Well, I want to write the book, and great. You know what? You will never get the brass ring that way.
Right.
Because for all of us, and I've interviewed a lot of people, you got to really go for what you want, get it, and then you can do whatever you want. Forever, you will always be a gold medal winner. Bruce Jenner will always be a decathlon. You don't get to take that away from anyone. You're the Academy Award winner. If you don't do that, you're always the nominee, or I could have. I almost made that. Mm-hmm. And for some people, that's fine. For me, that I didn't want to settle.
Yeah.
And I'm not done, by the way. This is
You're just getting started. You said now we're going on the new. We're bringing it back.
That'd be very interesting. Yes. By the way, every new house, whenever you close a deal, give them a spin gym.
Boom.
Every mom who's having a baby, come on, you're sitting there, the baby's there.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, I want to get it for my sales team. Keep them focused.
Here's what we do. We have a little app. 1 minute. It's called 1 minute before. 1 minute before every hour goes off. Everybody stands up in all the cubicles. You turn on the music. You give me how many can you do, and you're done. 1 minute. See, there's no
That'd be
excuses.
great for the sales floor.
Oh, I'm gonna love this. Totally.
Yeah.
Cheers to Ryan sales floor as they spin gym.
Yep.
And you know what's cool? They come in every color. So the girls get pink, the boys get silver.
You know what I'll say about this is it does feel like super high quality. It looks great, like the texture, like everything about it. I'm glad you didn't just go plastic.
No, and as we move forward, there's going to be an executive level. Guys like handles, so we made one that's a little bit more substantial.
Ah, okay.
But what you don't realize, by the way, so it's not only arms, but here, you're sitting down and you don't want your butt to get any bigger. You put your knees on the outside of this, and you've got an abductor deductor machine. And I will tell you what, not so easy to do.
No.
No, the love of my life is he's a bodybuilder. He's an award-winning bodybuilder.
Yep.
I met him because of this. Okay, that's a crazy in Vegas. I was doing a video here in a hotel room. My videographer says, "Hey, do you want to meet a 2-time Mr. Arnold champion?" I'm like, "No, I think he's gonna laugh at me." In walks this very handsome man, pretty fit, and he looks at it. And you know what I always do is I make him take his shirt off. I make all my men take their shirts off.
There you go.
And fell in love with it. And the next thing you know, 6 years later, we're still going strong.
There we go.
Spin Gym, great dating tool. Okay, here's the next thing I'll give you. I love to teach pitching with this. You know why?
Okay.
Because in 90 seconds, this is a 90-second sale.
Okay.
Wherever, you know what? I'll show you a picture of a guy who did it this morning.
Okay.
Want to something crazy? I'm in the hotel room. This is the ultimate. I took my phone off. Picture of me and Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
I walked into my hotel room. I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to believe this. Dennis, come here. You want to see something cool? So the script for this is where I finally discovered that I'm going to be the premier teacher of pitch that ever lived.
Okay.
I'm selling spin gyms on those 8x10 booths and conventions, and I'm not doing very well. I'd get you there, I'm making you do all these exercises, and you'd walk away. And I'm like, why are people not buying this? And then I realized I was too busy teaching them. That's not how people buy.
Okay.
And so I said, well, what's the fewest words I could use? And everybody got it. They bought it because they could feel it. So here's the script. Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
Nice to see you. You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I just did? I got a yes. That literally says, you want to see something cool, always gets a yes. Give me your thumbs.
Okay.
Everybody does this. Even on Zoom calls, they'll do it. I take this. I haven't said who I am or what this is. My only promise to you, want to see something cool.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's on your fingers.
Yep.
Then I count backwards from 10 to 1. Why do I do that?
Get them using it.
Because
engaged.
but there's also an end.
Yeah.
If I started at 1, by
You
third...
don't know when it's going to... Yeah.
Right. So I would do this. Then I say, straighten your arms like Superman.
Okay.
Well, as soon as you straighten your arms like Superman, you're going to start to feel it.
Yeah.
And then I have them do this. I have them punch out one side, punch out your stress, and then I take it away from them. What do you want to do? You want to do the other side.
Okay.
You know what people say to me all the time?
What?
Oh my God, where do I get that? It's $40, and everywhere I go, we're talking. And I make it a challenge on airplanes. I'll have every flight attendant have a spin gym. I'll be in saunas. I'll be in line at Starbucks, and I think it's the coolest thing to practice pitching.
Yeah. That's funny.
I know. Isn't
So
it
you
crazy?
just bring it everywhere.
Oh, I feel naked without it. I've gone to parties without it. And the truth is chatty Kathy as I've been, you're great to talk to. I've wanted to sit down with you for a long time. I'm really an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to sit at home and be quiet. And so when I'm at a party, I never really knew what to do. I don't drink.
Right.
Are you good at parties?
No, I'm pretty introverted.
And so how do you deal with that?
I just kind of do it. The good thing is people come to me and talk, so I don't have to be outgoing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so for me, I just carry it in my pocket. I love to play with it. It seems like fun and interactive. And then we don't have to talk. I think the thing about introverts, I discovered some definitions. We don't like small talk.
Yeah. No,
I'll
we
talk
want to get
marketing.
to the point.
Oh, I'll talk marketing all day long with you.
Right.
I'll talk fitness. I'll talk health. But don't tell me about the sports game or the weather or what color you painted your house.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
Well, when your kids get to school, that's what moms talk about a lot with each other.
Okay.
And so I never fit in with the moms. And then if you hang out with the husbands and the fathers, oh, don't do that if you're a girl. So I don't go. I stay at home. I know.
So it's hard finding community.
Well, I've certainly built my own. You know what?
But before.
Very hard. Well, growing with the kids, really hard because I would go to the mom events. And we moved to St. Petersburg, Florida. And all the moms, nothing personal, with maybe one or two dads, are house moms.
Right.
and they love their life, but it's not mine.
Right.
I'm like, let's do business. Let's build them. I love wherever I can be, seeing white space, teaching someone how to pitch, getting their business to be better. I don't know. That's how I get happy.
I love it. You know, what's funny is, speaking of like just pitching and selling and everything else, like obviously you're a master at it. You've sold literally billions of dollars of product, but even just like how we met, you DM me and you're like, hey, you know, I'm in Vegas, would love to meet you. I've been a fan, and you know, all this stuff. And, you know, I don't read through a ton of my DMs, but they're like, hey, you know, this girl Forbes, you might want to meet her. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember like her from all these different things. And I was like, dude, yeah, like let's bring her in. And just like your persistence is like very high of everything you do.
Well,
because you've been texting me every day up until this point, like everything about it. Like I noticed those things of why successful people are successful. It's because they're persistent. They don't take no for an answer. They are just willing to do whatever it takes.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities that I could go back and go, I wish I'd been a little more persistent. Because some days it takes all that you can be to do that. Mm-hmm. But I've always found it works out when you put yourself out there. And, you know, it's so funny because as an actress before this, I don't know if I would have reached out. I now have something I think that's so important that it's not about me anymore.
Right.
We could talk about me all day long, and that's great. In fact, I prefer people when they introduce me to not read my credits. They're not. It's nice. I mean, I don't use some of them. Like I created the X Games with ESPN.
Really?
Me and Stuart Scott. If you go, I have some crazy credentials of what I've managed to build. I know, right? You didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, 1995, Providence, Rhode Island. Extreme Games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 before they started Winter X.
Wow.
I know. I have a crazy gift. Now, the problem with that is I couldn't find a manager to really harness this.
Yeah.
Because there's no manager for there is for actors, for models.
I mean, you were like your dad. You're an inventor.
Yeah, kinda. I'm definitely. I don't know what it is. All I know is I have this crazy spark.
Yep.
I have this need to make people's lives better. I love doing it, and then I love all the fun that comes with it. You know, do you ever have anyone ask you for their autograph?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah, it means you touch somebody's heart.
Yep.
You move them, and I feel very honored about that. I don't ever take it for granted. Now that I give speeches, this is what Clubhouse did for me. 2021, somebody says something. I got really tired of looking at all these male speakers.
Yep.
And I also thought, who's my role model? If you asked your wife who's a famous role model as a woman, who would she say?
Kim Kardashian? I don't know. Like, there's not.
People would say Oprah. They would always say Oprah to me, and I would say, you know what? I love Oprah, but here's what I don't love: not a mom.
Right.
Do you notice now as a dad?
Oprah's not a mom? I didn't know that.
No, she's got a bunch of Cocker Spaniels. She never technically married Stedman. They'd been together forever. I've not met her. Just saying, I would love to spinge him with Oprah.
Yep, there you go.
And I'll take good care of the person who makes that connection happen. But not a mom. Ellen DeGeneres, another woman that I admire, not a mom.
Yep.
So along my career path, again, you want to see a weird spade bump?
Yep.
They're here for 18 hours.
Yep.
I hosted the Laugh Factory for 3 years. You know what the Laugh Factory is?
I've heard of it.
It's the premier comedy club in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I walked in off the street. I've never been in a comedy club. I'm not that funny. That helped a lot. I walked on stage. I was the last one. It was an open call on a Sunday. And the owner, Jamie Masada, who helped make careers like Robin Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, Jerry Seinfeld, you name it, said, come here, in his very Israeli accent. You, every Saturday, Friday, and Saturday, you're my host. I'm like, okay. Now, step back for a second. I had worked at Club Meds. I had done stand-up comedy sort of at ski resorts.
Yep.
That's how I ended up getting the X Games. Very weird, complicated, crazy career. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So I found a comedy thing from like Rita Rudner. I memorized her thing, got on stage that night, welcomed everybody, and I did this routine. Jamie's in the back. He's like, come here. I'm like, what did I do? He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm being funny. He said, no, I did not hire you to be funny. The comedians are funny. You get on stage without a thought in your head, do 10 minutes for me, and go. 3 years of that.
Wow.
I worked with everybody. I got to sit. Again, what a strange career moment.
Sports, comedy,
right.
Info.
And so my goal is to take all of that and meld it in so that it helps other people, because it's been extraordinary.
Well, you know what I found is that I've been in a lot of different things too, whether it was sports, info, real estate, social media. Like I've been in a lot of different things. And the people that I found that are like probably the most creative and problem-solving people are those who have different life experiences. Like you'll be like, yo, I've seen this. I remember back at the Laugh Club, like that this was happening. I remember from TV that we used to do it this way. And so you can draw experience from all these things versus somebody who's been on like the corporate ladder through one thing. That's all they know.
I could not agree more. I have something coming out next year called the Forbes Factor.
Okay.
The word Forbes. Number one, when you do you believe in manifestation?
I mean, like law of attraction and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, so I don't believe like there's voodoo behind it of like the universe just puts it on your plate, but I believe like, hey, you got to visualize it before you're ever going to achieve anything.
That's exactly all that it is.
Yeah.
And that, a law of attraction is you put the work in, you figure out what you want, and you go get it.
Yeah.
Funny thing about laws, whether you believe in them or not, doesn't much matter. Do you believe in gravity? Who cares? Look, it works, even if I
Right.
don't believe in gravity.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of those things converging. And so I was on Clubhouse one night, and somebody had said to me something about speakers. And I said, I don't understand. We need some female speakers out there. I've been training, I've been working with Les Brown. The time is now. I got an email the next morning from a thing called Real Summits. They're a tour company out of South Africa with Deepak Chopra, Les Brown, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. They had one woman, they had Sharon Lecter, and they said, we'd like to put you as a headliner. Ryan, the very next day, they sent me a picture of all of those men, and I'm in the middle. And I will tell you, the little girl inside of me is like, check this, how did this happen? But here's what happened. That is a platform. They access between 10 and 50,000 people every month. You get on a virtual stage and do your thing.
Yep.
I'm the third highest seller out of all 33 to 38 speakers they've ever had.
Wow.
Right. So all of a sudden, this pitch thing became really important.
Right.
And now I'm doing that every single month. It's been 2 years. And next month in March, they did something very revolutionary. They said, Forbes, we'd like you to create the Women's Summit. I was like, oh, okay. So you know who just signed on?
Who?
I've got Sharon Lecter. I've got Elena Cardone.
Oh, nice.
I know. And I've got some other pretty amazing people I'm going to keep under wraps till then. But I'm excited to see if we can't.
So you're in charge of recruiting all the women?
No, it's my event.
Oh, okay.
There's not in charge. They said, here, you want to host this and do this and create it? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I do. Because I'm also going to have a panel of women who are up-and-comers.
Right.
There's a lot of women in the social media space who sell really well.
Yeah.
So I went to Derek because I'm excited to figure out the corporate structure and how that really works. There's things that I just don't know because I don't come from that world.
Right.
One of the things that you said is interesting is that when you're in a lot of different arenas and life experience, you come to understand how to figure out what you don't know fast.
Yeah.
Because there's no time to not figure that out. Here's what else I don't know. I didn't grow up with social media. So as much as I know about great pictures and memes and ideas, I haven't really nailed that. I've been hanging out with some 18-year-olds who have 4 to 8 million fans on sites. One of them has a satisfying site. I'm like, what is that? She's like, well, I just make satisfying videos because people like to watch that stuff. And I'm like,
What does that even mean?
well, it's like combing a cat, again, whatever satisfying. I don't know either.
Okay.
4 million followers this woman has.
Okay.
And she just gets it.
Yeah.
You get your social media, don't you?
Yep.
What's one thing that you would tell me to organically up-level the world of social media?
I would say the number one way right now is through short form content. So making the reels, the TikToks, that's the number one way. And my advice to you would be to repurpose your old videos. So take literally all these infomercials and things and like show just a quick 3-4 second snippet of it and then analyze it and be like, hey, this was an infomercial I did where we made $100 million and here was the like literally everything we've been talking about on this show, those would make great short form. And people like me would be like, I remember, her on TV doing this and this and this, and you'll blow up quick. Like that was how I felt about Tony Horton when I saw him starting to post stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, like I haven't seen that guy in like so long, but that's crazy.
I think it's a genius idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to run with that and let you know how it goes.
I'll be watching it.
So your WealthCon.
Yeah.
First of all, love the name of it.
Thank you.
Because health is wealth.
Yep.
Finances. What is the definition of wealth for you?
So this show is called The Wealthy Way Podcast, and the subtitle is Don't Go Broke Trying to Get Rich, right? And so for me, I've just seen so many entrepreneurs who go broke in these other areas of life trying to pursue building their business, growing their money and all that, right? They end up with a broken family, their health sucks, spiritually, they're not right. And so for me, my mission is to help entrepreneurs just really become wealthy, true wealthiness, not just money, right? So yeah, wealth is, to me, all areas of life.
And do you coach a little bit on all that? Because especially coming from a man, I think that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're actually in the midst of, we've just rebranded all of our companies to be under a Wealthy brand.
I saw all the branding out there. I also love, for those of you not been to his office, the fact that you have your core values on the wall.
Yeah.
See, that's wise beyond your years. That's, that's just so powerful for your company to see them, to all align with that. That's what I'm coming to understand.
Yeah.
This is a new territory for me, but wow.
Yeah. And, if somebody can't fit every single one of those core values, they're out. They cannot work for us.
I love that.
And so, yeah, we're basically, rebranding all of our education into Wealthy Education. So Wealthy Investor for real estate, Wealthy Creator for social media. We got one coming out called Wealthy Business, teaching people leadership, KPIs, hiring, firing, like all that stuff. So, yeah, we're going all in on the Wealthy brand, and, WealthCon is obviously an extension of that. And so we want to bring in speakers who represent all of these aspects of wealth. So, hey, we'll have Forbes talk about pitching. We'll have,
you know what? It's pitching for pitch secrets for everything. Pitch secrets to network marketers.
Yep.
Pitch secrets to get your bride. Pitch secrets to get into a college. No, it's kind of an interesting.
Get someone to sell you a house.
Yes.
In real estate.
Pitch secrets for people who sell cars. You'd be surprised the secrets, the things that really successful people in that just don't tell you all the little stuff.
Yep.
I love that. I think that's just incredible genius. Before we end, two things. One, the reason that I'm here now is I had to get all parts of my life together.
Yeah.
I will say there's a reason and a season for everything. There's a time when you may be single and you may be unhappy, or you may be overweight, but you really, if you're not firing on all your cylinders. One, as a woman, I can't walk on a stage looking shoddy.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, much as I love him, can wear shorts, a t-shirt, kind of messy hair, and a pair of sneakers, and he's fine. Can you imagine what would happen to my career if I did that?
Right.
So there's a thing about being a woman in that world that I love letting people know about, especially other women, that you do need to, you can't walk out, you can't be tired, and especially this kind of energy that you need.
Right.
The thing that I also needed, which is new for me, two, my kids are old enough to allow them to go do what they wanted. For 18 years, people are like, how come we didn't really see you grow like other people? Because I wanted to be mom. I wanted to make sure that I had solid, beautiful, amazing children.
Yep.
And then 6 years ago, I found the love of my life.
Yep.
And I think, who's sitting over there?
Yep.
And I do think that without being this much in love with somebody who cares about you, you're not firing on all your cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came to me many years ago, and said, are you married? I was like, why do you ask? He said, because I don't see any love in your work. And I'd gotten really focused on just winning, whatever that was.
Right.
And I had to stop, and I said, you know what? I think I need to do this part of my life.
Yeah.
And I was 42 before I had my kids. I wouldn't miss having kids. It's the greatest thing ever. Got to tell you.
Kids are amazing. Yeah, and that's kind of what my message has been, is like, look, for me, I'm in the office 9 to 5. Like, I don't work late. I want to make sure I'm home for dinner with my family.
Yep.
I want to make sure that, I don't work on weekends. We don't come to the office. Like, yeah, I think you had asked me, like, hey, I'll be in this times, and I'm like, well, Monday, you can come Monday. Like, 'cause
Right.
I'm not going to come in on the weekend. It doesn't really matter who it's going to be in town. Like, I've turned down people who are like, can you film today? I'm like, I can't.
You saying you've turned down people better than me? Wait.
But I'll be like, come Monday, come Friday, like whatever, right? Like, let's find a way. But if it's going to sacrifice the things that are more important to me, then it's not worth it. Like, I've already achieved enough financial success. Like, what would be the point, right? Now at this point, I'm sacrificing my family for no reason, right? So
I love it.
That's my message. And, I see a lot of entrepreneurs today, like you said, you don't have anyone to look up to as far as women speakers go. And I look at it and, I'm a strong Christian. And so I look at them like, who are like the strong Christian entrepreneurs? There's not many of them.
No.
Right. And you're like, man, all these entrepreneurs are talking about the grind mentality and, do this, do that. And they don't, maybe they don't even have kids or anything. I'm like, where are the guys like me looking up to where, they're trying to be strong husbands and believers, and they're trying to be strong parents, like you're saying, and they just can't relate to any of these other people.
Right.
And so for me, I'm just trying to live my life in a way that's representative of what I believe, and, try to be somebody that other people can emulate and show like, yo, you can still have a lot of success. You don't have to sacrifice at all, because that person that you're following does not share the same like life priorities that you do.
Right. I love that you've come to this at this point in your life. It took me a long time to come to this, and I'm as happy as I've ever been. And I really do want your listeners and everybody out there to realize that without all of those things working, without someone to believe in you, without a passion, life gets very kind of weird and lonely.
Yep.
It's not all about the money, but money is great.
Yep.
And so how do you make it? And I think you have to have voices of people. I think right now, between the television and news, there's so much negative energy coming at all of us.
Yep.
And so much FOMO. I remember, I didn't get the Bitcoin when it was $100. I didn't get the .com. I had a friend of mine who bought business.com for $8.60, sold it for $52 million.
Wow.
I know, one guy, good for
crazy.
him, right?
Yep.
But can you still maintain your sanity? And one of the things that I love doing personally, and if you ever hear me on Clubhouse, it is definitely my venting, is I love to love on people, to
Yep.
heal their mental sanity, to let them know that it is okay. I love what you're doing. I really do, and I admire you much more now having sat down and really spoken to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So as we wrap up, I got to hear the pitch to get people to your pitch class. Where can they find it?
All right. So number one, you can go to ForbesRiley.com and find everything. I have free gifts there. I'm always giving away stuff. But every Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern, since COVID hit, except for my birthday and Super Bowl, I have been teaching a 2-hour pitch class called Pitch Secrets Master Class.
Okay.
And you know what I do? I don't have a lot of people. I know what it's like to talk to 10,000.
Yeah.
I like conversing. I can literally change your pitch and change your life. You give me 15 minutes.
Yep.
Anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
If you knew that you could up-level your pitch, you could have clarity in your message, and just a touch more confidence,
Yep.
would you show up?
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
You're not going to ask me what it cost?
No?
Oh, well, you're unlike most people.
What does it cost?
$19.
Cheap.
Oh, no, excuse me, it is not cheap.
It's
There's
not
nothing
cheap.
cheap about it.
It's
no, it's wildly
low
affordable.
cost.
No, it's wildly affordable,
Yeah.
but it's not free. And
Yeah.
everything I do has a life lesson. I teach things about affirmations, about assumptions, about life lessons, about springboard stories. Why would Forbes Riley charge $19? It's a great story. You could do it for free. How many people show up when it's free?
More people, but
No, a lot of people sign up. They don't show up.
well, yeah, lots don't show up.
I don't
Right.
want people who are going to... I sign up all the time. Probably
Yeah.
for your offers. It's free. But I don't show up. I have no commitment.
Right.
$19 is just enough skin in the game for you to show up.
Yep.
Now, another crazy thing, I offer an affiliate deal for that.
Yep.
People go, well, I only make $19. You make all... If you send somebody to me, Ryan, I'll give you a code. I'm going to give you the $19. You send 10 people to me, I'm going to give you the $190.
Right.
And then once they're in my world, I'm going to send you a check every couple of weeks because they'll be able to buy all kind of things.
Yep.
One referral from me could be $1,000 for you. Can I
Yeah.
get you off your butt and stop saying how broke you are? Not you, but you.
Yep. Yep.
Because that's what I'm really tired of.
You're giving people a way to make money as well.
In every way that I can.
Yep.
I want people to find a sense of self-esteem and happiness and joy. I want you to come to big arenas with me. I want you to spin gym.
Yep.
At lunch, you give me 5 minutes. We all stand up and do our thing.
Yep.
We sit down, we learn, we implement. What's your word for 2023?
Intentional
Mine's implementation.
implementation.
A lot of theory. I'm not interested in theory. My daughter has a new course out called GSD. You know what it stands for?
No.
Get shit done.
There you go.
She looked at her mom. Again, these are life lessons for me I'm going to pass on to you. She looked at me, and like every entrepreneur, 2 years ago when COVID hit, I had stuff going on. I had infomercials. I'd written a diet book called Eat. I had this. And then if you asked me, I would tell you, I'd babble.
Yeah.
She said, Mom, really? Could you pick one? I'm like, oh. She said, pick one. I said, well, it's going to be pitching. She said, I know it's going to be. I'm going to build your entire back end for you if you promise not to talk about that, not to talk about anything else except pitching.
Yeah.
And I still did this every day. But you know what we did? We sat down for 3 weeks. We crafted a business together.
Yep.
See, I'd been in business with a lot of big guys who said they would do that. No one ever did it quite like she did it.
Right.
With real honest heart and one intention, to help the people on the other end get their message out.
Right.
We opened up on day one. A 17-year-old and a woman who'd never been on the internet before. Opened up ClickFunnels. There was $25K in there. I said to my daughter, what does the K stand for? Ryan, I only see like $1.98. Like, Mom, you made $25,000. And I literally only had 25 people in the webinar. I'm
Yeah.
good at closing, right?
Yeah.
I'm good at pitching.
100% ratio.
Right. I was like, that was nothing to me. But
Yeah.
Later when I found out most people close at 10%, I'm like,
Yeah.
come take my pitching class. Come on, seriously. I have an average of 30 to 80% pitch of closing on anything I've ever done.
Right.
This 1% and 2% is baloney.
Yeah.
So then 4 weeks of doing that, you know what you've got?
Yeah.
You've got a 17-year-old who's got a 6-figure business, just like they all preached about.
Yep.
And then she said, you know what, Mom? I'm going to teach people how to do this. You have too many tabs open. You don't strategize right. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah. She's like, I've watched you. She's like, and then she said something else I thought was interesting. She said, you know what my job is as a kid? I said, what? To learn. You know what your kids are going to do for the next 16 years?
Learn.
They're going to learn.
Yep.
You know what you and your wife are going to do? You're going to take care of the learners. You're not going to learn as much. You're not going to grow as much
Right.
because we stop. And then, unfortunately, things like Canva come along. You got to learn something new. ClickFunnels, AI. Oh, my God. I think people are panicking right now and buying everything they can, but they're really not learning.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I set out to do in my trainings, I've devoted a lot of time and energy to this. I teach a lot of my own. Everything's not recorded. Everything, you come into a room with me and I will push you and coach you because I have a firm philosophy. A friend loves you the way you are. Forbes Riley loves you way too much to leave you that way.
That's
and it's been my heart mission. I can't tell you how fulfilling this is to take people and watch them get $1 million or get their first sale. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I've had both ends of these. Somebody calls me, oh, I made a sale. I'm like, congratulations, about time. And I don't want any of my friends to give up hope. I lost 3 friends in the last couple of months by their own hand. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's the world that I want to live in, that I want to raise my kids in. So if I can teach you, I was a millionaire by the time I was 27. I had a crazy business. I'm not going to tell you what this is because this particular business is interesting, worthy of doing a TV series about. And for the first time, I'm going to talk about what I did that no one's ever seen before and no one's ever talked about. Can you imagine? It's like, what is this? And I made $1 million doing it.
Wow.
And it was legal.
Caveat.
I should just say that.
Yeah.
Because making money's always been easy. My daughter looked at me like, Mom.
All right, you're going to have to tell me off camera what this business is.
Ooh,
I got to know.
See, now, isn't this funny?
Yeah.
I made him want to know what I have.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Well, Forbes, it was great talking to you. I appreciate you coming in. We'll have to definitely have you at WealthCon and talk through that.
You're going to be in Hollywood for that in April, my birthday month.
Yep. That's my birthday month, too.
What's your word, intentional?
Intentional.
So when I set an intention out here and I looked at WealthCon before I came in and said, oh, it's interesting.
Yep. You already figured it out. You're like,
only
get in.
Well, but see, only if it's a good fit and only
Yeah.
if you are the right kind of guy. And you also involved Lewis Howes.
Yep.
Last funny story.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to do any of this like so many people don't. I wanted to be a speaker 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I bought $1,200 ticket. That was a lot for me back then.
Yep.
To Allie Brown's event. They call me and they're like, hey, can we return your money? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, we want you to be a speaker on stage. And I'm like, but how do you even know who I am? So before social media, I was famous on television, but I didn't know it because no one ever reached back out to me.
Right.
And so I have this on videotape. It was me, another woman, and Allie. 2 other people didn't show up, so it was like this really intimate panel. I'm, for the first time, doing my story on stage. They were laughing. We're loving it. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Lewis Howes walks up to me. No one knows who he is. This is a long time ago.
Right.
He says he's the webinar king.
Yeah.
He's doing a mastermind in New York. Would I come?
Yep.
You know what my question was?
Yeah.
What's a mastermind? I didn't know. In that room at the Soho House, it was Ryan Dyson, Perry Belcher. It was Greg Reed from Secret Knock. It was Maria Forleo. It was Sean Vol. It was all the people who now, Kevin Nations, Frank Kern, are the captains of industry.
Yeah.
And Lewis was smart enough to put all of us, when we were little babies, I was there representing infomercials.
Right.
And now, fast forward, every one of those has changed their own industry.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to be part of that. And then I went and when Lewis released his book about his personal trauma, I thought the world just shifted.
Yeah.
When I was seeing a man be that vulnerable, I was just so like proud that I knew him when, and the evolution. So that's, and you picked up on that.
Yep.
That's, you don't see him on a lot of stages. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. No, he's a good buddy, and I'm excited to have him. So, well, guys, go check out Forbes' website. She's going to get me the affiliate, as she said.
I will get him an affiliate
and we're going
link.
to put it at the link below, and you might just be seeing her at WealthCon. So, all right, Forbes, it's good seeing you. Guys, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. Thanks for making it to the end. The good news is I've got another one that I know you're going to like, and all you got to do is click it right here, linking it right here. All you got to do is just click it, and you're going to see this new episode that you're going to love.